Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make these absolutely incredible waterfall cards, and they are really fun to make, look really great. And also with this one you've got the mechanism, so normally you used to put a band right across the card and that works perfectly fine, but a lot of people didn't like that effect. So this one is where the band is hidden just around the back there, so you can see just the side of it, but pretty much hidden, so it's quite magical in its appearance and everybody seems to like these. I've also done it a little bit different, so a lot of people wrap these tight around, but you can see there's an awful lot of card because I've added 350 GSM, which is a really heavyweight card, to pass through that band. So if it was flat it wouldn't make it. So what I've done is just added a little 7/8 of an inch at the sides there, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now this is an A4 card, which is UK, which is rather large, and I've got a 6-inch back there. So if you've got your smaller 4 1/4 by 5.5 cards, as you can see they're quite a lot smaller, I am going to show you how to do it for this one, and then afterwards I'll show you the sizes to make it for your A4, because I know this is a really popular size, so I've adapted it so that it fits onto these. So I'm going to start with the 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. Okay, so that's what we're going to do first. So I'm all about the know-how, so I've just covered it for you there with a bit of paper, and I will show you how to put everything together, but like I said, I'm all about the know-how. So what you need first of all is a piece of cardstock which measures 9 3/4. I'm just going to get my score tool out. I'm just going to leave that. 9 3/4 by 2.5. Okay, because we're going to make 2.5 inch squares. So when you've got your 9 3/4 on there, what you're going to do is you're going to make the square. So it's 2.5 wide. So your first mark's going to be 2.5, and then we're going to go every ½ inch up to 4.5. So 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and stop there. So that's that part done. Okay, and we'll go through the scores in a second because I'm just going to do the band while I'm here. So the band is 5 1/4, and then what we're going to do with that one is we're going to score it 1 1/4 and then 1/8, and then we're going to turn it around to save our brains with all that mathematical mystery, and we're going to do it again at 1 1/4 and then another 8, so 1 3/8. Okay, so we've just got that little band like that, and I'm just going to remove that now. Oh, sun's just come out, how joyous. And there we go, so we've got that one there. So all we need to do is reinforce all the scores or burnish them like this, just to make them really tight, and keep the edge of that card straight because it's going to be passing through the band. So as you go by with these scores, there's more and more card appearing in the back there that you need to have lined up to keep it nice and straight, so it definitely fits through that band when you pour the waterfall card down like that. And then one more. We just need to make sure that they're all nice and even, and there you can see already we're getting that little bit of effect. This is the bit that goes at the back. Okay, this is the bit you pull down on, and these are all the bits that flip. And then with our band we just need to reinforce those as well. I'm just going to do that now. So just the same thing, just line it up there, get your little reinforced lines in like that. And I just found that having that little 7/8 on the edge really did help the card flow through, because quite a lot of them you see do get stuck, and it is easy to get them stuck, especially when you using lots of heavyweight cardstock, etc. So there we go, we've got our band, which is going to obviously wrap around like that, and it's just going to meet in the middle. Now the other thing that I do, and I know a lot of people now put this on and they just put it over and they don't have it like I'm doing it. So what they would do is they would put it onto this one at the back maybe, and then wrap around the bottom and things like that, but I don't like to do that. I'd rather use the extra bit of cardstock and have it at the back, because then if we haven't got overlaps on the back of everything, there's less chance of anything getting caught on a smooth piece as it goes through rather than a folded piece. So a lot of times they're like that and they wrap around the back and they overlap, and that to me just gives it a bit more depth and a bit more things for it to catch on. So I have the smooth bit at the back, and then I use the extra bit of card to cover up there. So it has to go over all of them. So what you've done is you've scored it 2.5, and you've got all your score lines going all down to the last one at 4.5, and then you hold it together at that last score line, so there's no score lines left on the back. Then you have your smooth piece at the back like that, and then we just join them at the front so that they meet. And then you want that to be even as well, so it's obviously going to be at the back like that, and then they're going to be even at the front. And you also want it to be right down at the bottom, so right at the edge here. So we're going to be gluing that. So what we do is we have to keep it in situ because it has to be around the back for the mechanism to work. So I'm just going to take some glue and pop it onto the tab. And it doesn't matter if they don't 100% meet, because you've put score lines into it. Depending on the thickness of your card, sometimes they don't 100% meet in the middle, but you're going to be covering it up anyway. So don't worry about that. So you have to get that second score line, so, or the first one, whatever you want to call it, and then just pop it on there. And then you've got your depth coming around the back. See, you've got that little 7/8 there. I'm terrible for waiting for things to dry, aren't I? Mrs. Impatient. And then I'm going to just do this around this side as well. And thanks to everyone that has subscribed, liked and commented on all of my videos. I do appreciate you very much. And then, and it is free to subscribe. You don't have to pay anything. You just get notified when I release a new video, basically. So you see they don't 100% meet, but I'm not worried about that. If you are, you can always make your strips a little bit longer. So as long as you've got that little 7/8 of an inch on there. So I'm just going to let that just take. So as you can see, this is going to be the back. So now you can see this is the mechanism. And then all you do is you put glue on there, and that goes to your card. So it's really quite simple. But we just need to really make sure that all of these little lines are going to work. Manipulate them, get them going, because this is your waterfall and you're not really going to get the opportunity to do it. But once you've made your card, you do it a few times before you send it off to the recipient, and then it'll work fine when they get it. So that should be dry enough now. So now, like I say, what I do, so I've cut down 2.5-inch squares, and because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've cut 5 of them because there's 4 little 1/2-inch marks, and then the big one at the bottom there. So the whole of this one is going to get glued onto the base one like this. I'm going to glue all of that one on, and that one goes into place there, and it covers up that mechanism. See, I've also done, so what I did here was I did 2.5-inch squares, and then I've done a 2-inch little cover up there. Now you want to do all your stamping and decorating before you put this together, but as you know, my channel is all about the know-how. So now you don't see that mechanism. So it's just, all you see is a band around it. That band's going to be glued to the back of the card. So all you can really see is that little edge there, and then possibly a little bit of it at the front, and that's it, just where it twists. And that's all you see of it. So that's glued down. And then what you do with these ones is you have to make sure that you only glue this section and then put one on. We're going to do one at a time, but don't go over these fold lines because they're the mechanism. They're going to fold and move. So you don't want to be putting glue onto them because the card won't flip in the right way. This one's a stationary one, so it's not so important. But with these ones, and I probably should have used red liner tape for this, but I haven't, so we're just going to have to wait. So you just put glue along there, and then you just put your next one on, and you're only putting it on there. And see, it's not over the score line at all. It's just up to the score line, not over it. And just make sure that your sides, come on, glue. Make sure that your sides are very straight because, like I say, they've got to fit through that band. So if you've cut your cardstock a little bit too big, it won't work. So just make sure that they're stuck down as well. And then I'll move on to the next one. And obviously you can write messages on here. You can put flowers and stamps. They really lend themselves well to stamps. Or what I used was the hunky dory toppers, and I had a topper sheet that had butterflies on it, and I thought, well, that looked nice on a waterfall card, which is where my inspiration came from. Just Squash that one down there. And obviously you can have your patterns how you want them on here. This one has 5 because I wanted it to fit onto the 5.5 card. But on the other one that I did, it has 6, and I'm going to show you how to do a 6 one, and it has got a bigger piece at the bottom as well. So I'm just going to do that. And then we're going to do this. And that's our final one. I'm going to just get that one onto there. So obviously if you have messages, you put them in order of what they're going to be, how you want them to read, etc. Things like that. Just squash that down nicely. Make sure it's dry, which I'm not very good at doing, as you know. And then you'll see that even if we just hold it in our hand, you can see that it does that flip. Now because I've got that little depth there, what will happen is it's got room to go through. See, if it was flat to the card, it's got more chance of getting stuck, and I really need to wait for that to be dry. But because we've got that bit of depth on there, and it's going to come through, but I can't do it because it's not dry. So we just wait. What I need to do though is open that up for a second. Just open it up as far as it goes. And then what we can do is we can add a layer onto here. So if you wanted it to be all the way up to the top, then you would have to put it on beforehand, because some of it gets stuck into that layer. In fact, I'm going to have to push that one through, get it finally through. So you're not going to see it, so I think I'll cut mine down. So I might give it a little bit of a border, or I might put it right up actually. I'll make it up as I go along. Just glue this onto here, and it just gives it a nice little pattern. So while we're waiting for all the other glue to dry, we can get on with this section. And we just pop our piece onto there. And again, this does have to fit because it's going to be going back up through the mechanism. So just put that on there. I am going to turn it over and cut this extra piece off. I've only got a tiny pair of scissors here, weirdly. A little extra bit. So now we've got all that on there. And when you have the same colour cardstock going is what you've got on top. Just got to try and get that back up now. It will go. There you go. It's just because it's in my hand. When you've got the same colour cardstock, it makes it even more magical, I think. So what I did with my other one, we'll do it with this one actually. You can just make a point. So you can find halfway there and then cut diagonally, put a hole in there and add your ribbon. It kind of gives an arrow shape. What I did was I rounded my corners and then added the ribbon shape into there. But actually, let's do it differently so that you can see both ways. So if you measured 1 1/4, which I just need to grab she says, I'm going to use my scoreboard because my ruler's AWOL. So 1 1/4 is halfway of 2 1/2. So we'll just put, I am at the end, aren't I? Here, a little mark on there, like that. My husband's called Little Mark. No, he's called Mark. Every time I say Little Mark, it makes me laugh because I think, little husband. I know, I'm weird. So this is the edge of our card. So what we want to do is cut to that little point there. I'm just going to transfer it over so I can see. So you all know what I was talking about. So I'm just going to grab my scissors, and if they were longer it'd be better because they'd make it in one cut. I'm going to go to that point and then right back up to there, to that point. So now we've got an arrow, so it's also, you don't have to put ribbon on there. So that could almost be telling people it's this way. And if you wanted to add ribbon, then you just put a hole in there and thread your ribbon through, which I'll do on the next one. I keep changing my mind. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to show you. So you don't have to watch the second one if you're only doing this size. So just pop that in there, get a hole punch, and then just thread some ribbon through. So what I did with my one is I just, and you don't have to do, this could actually be a piece of card. It doesn't have to be ribbon. And then what you can do is you can either tie it, you don't want to be fixing it to anywhere other than that. So you can tie it around the front, you can have your loop, you can knot that here. But what I did with mine is I just added red liner tape and just folded it back on itself. We don't want this to be too big because it's only a small card, isn't it? I haven't done that very straight either, have I? My days, look at it. Could have punched the hole in the middle. But like you said, like I keep saying, I'm all about the know-how. As long as you know what to do, you can perfect it. Let's take that off. Pull that down. And then I'll use my ribbon glue. This bit. I don't like, it's awkward trying to use red liner tape on ribbon, I find. I'm just going to cut that on. No, I won't. I'll put it over. See, I change my mind all the time. So once that's dry, I would cut it. I'm going to cut it early. Just going to cut it off of there. It's quite neat actually if you do it to the shape of the... see, that's quite neat. But what I would do now is I would just... Oh no, I can't do it because if I put wet glue on there, I put PVA glue, just dab it on my finger and dab it on the ends, and that'll stop the fraying there. So you've got your little pull tab here. So now we've got a little pull tab, and eventually that will just sit down there. If not, you can add a little bit of your glue just to the end, or a bit of red liner tape, and get it to sit down. But just one end, because you obviously want that loop to be there. You need it to be a loop. So we've got our nice little mechanism going here. So what we need to do now is pop that onto our card. Make sure you've got your card up the right way. Then we just use the tape here. Glue even. Or should I use tape? I'm in dilemmas. Do you know, to get an instant tack, I might use a bit of red liner. And then a bit of wet glue as well to make it permanent. So hopefully this will help it not fall off the card while I'm showing you. And then the wet glue will do its thing. So I'll do wet glue around the edge to make sure all of it needs to be glued well. And we're just going to pop that on there. Put it up nice and central. Obviously you would have this all decorated, stamped and all other things like that. I'm just going to hold that down. And it's really that bit there that needs to be glued. So that's a bit. And what I do with mine is I tend to put a bit of weight on there. Just weight it down. Get it down like that. So let's see if we can do it without breaking it. Yeah, it does. Thank goodness. So that glue is really not dry. So you'd wait for it to be dry. And then I've just got to get it going a couple of times. I've got it jammed, haven't I? There we go. So just get it going a couple of times. It's best not to pull it all the way through the first time. Just get those ones going. And then you'll see, look, it's much better now. It going back. Well, it will be in a second. Come on, don't play me up. There we go. So I've got there. There we go. So you've got your little 4 1/4 by 5.5 card. And that mechanism fits on there nice. And now we'll move on to the bigger mechanism. Okay, so I will just grab my bits for that. So I need the scoreboard back in again. Bear with me. Scoreboard back in. So this one's a little bit longer. So what I've done here is I've gone for 11 by 2.5. So we're going to score that at 2.5, and then 3, and 3.5, 4, and we're going to do more this time. We went to 4.5 last time. We're going to do 5. So you can get more because you've got the bigger A4 card stock. So that was 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. And then it's the same thing with our little strip. We're going to do 1 1/4, and then another 1/8, and then turn it around. 1 1/4 and another 1/8, like that. It's the same thing. Just move that out the way. Just reinforce all of these. Put it down to do it. And then this one here. Like that. So we've got our band ready, and then we need to reinforce these. So it's exactly the same principle. I've just made it a little bit longer, and we've managed to get an extra square in because we've got a longer card. So you can always add extra 1/2 inches to get more in. You'd obviously need your card stock to be longer though. So it'd be limited by how long your card is. Let's keep going again on that one. And finally, keep that side straight. Go on, get over. that one. So there we go, we've got all our little mechanisms again. And then what we would do is now add this piece. So like we did before, smooth bit goes to the back of it all, and it's going to come right down to the bottom of this top piece here. So we're just going to glue that on. So I'm going to add glue to the tab here. And we're just going to lift that up, get the glue on. You can lift it up with the first one quite well. Doesn't matter about that glue because, like I say, we're covering it all up in a minute. Get that stuck down. Make sure that's on the fold that I made, the score line. Don't want it to be over too far because it won't fit through. And then bring that band around the back of everything, so all the way around. And then we're just going to add our last little piece there. Like that. And that little bit goes onto there. That was not me, that was my dog telling me to play with him. Can you hear him? He's growling. Sounds like my stomach's rumbling. I'll just sort him out. There. Settled the puppy back down. I'd say puppy's 17 months old. It's very cute. Just wants mummy all of the time. Bless him. Right, so then we're just covering up that piece that we've done there. So just 2.5 inch square cover up onto there. So you don't have to do matting and layering on this. You can just use pretty papers, etc. and things like that. Just pop that one onto there. And then it's the same principle. You just go through and you just add in all the way like this. I'm going to do them all really quick this time because I'm just going to, it's the same thing. We just don't glue anything onto those score lines, that's all. So just do them one at a time. Put it on, rub it down, put it on, rub it down. And I'm doing it in the air so it's a bit closer to you. So I'm going to put it down in a minute. Just keeping those sides all nice and straight so everything fits through. And finally this one. Just made a wild mess of that glue, haven't I? There we go. And that one not on the score line but right up to it. So you can see you've got all your neat 1/2 inch marks there, and I'm just going to rub all of this down. Make sure they're stuck. Now I don't actually have a card to put this on, do I? Bit of an oversight. So again, you can either round your corners, you can put pull on there, just write the word pull on there so people know to pull that. You can make it an arrow shape, you can add a hole for the ribbon, not a hole for the ribbon, entirely up to you. But here we go. So this one's going to go through and it's got an awful lot more, and that is not stuck down, so it's got no chance of going through the back because it's not stuck down, as you can see. So you want to make sure that especially your top ones are stuck down, and when it's on a card it works a little bit better as well. So you can see all it does is it just slides through that band, and having that little extra 7/8 of an inch, it's difficult for me to hold, really helps them all to go through. So you can see it's gone completely flat now, so they've all gone through, and then you push it back up and they all come back up. It's a really, really nice effect, isn't it? And you can have lots of nice words on there or pictures. So enjoy making your waterfall cards, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.